It's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Tokwe Mark Odige, and with me as usual are the beautiful ladies. YK in the building.
Yo, yo, yo.
This your jury is a statement.
Good morning.
Give it.
Oh yeah, I just saw it. I do.
Today, I just want to be grateful and thankful. You know, I never do this, but I have to do this because yesterday, the trauma that I was hit with was crazy. I was driving home, and thank God I wasn't going too fast. On that our road, the long road, Yakoyo Road, honestly, this little baby jumped in front of my car. You know, I pressed the brake so hard that the car touched the baby fell, but it was not bad.
Oh my God.
Because I pressed so hard, all the Okadas
Slammed you at the back.
They ran
telling
into
you.
you.
It was just crack, the back of my car.
Of course.
I got that, and I looked at
I
God
can't
and I was,
imagine the shock that I've gone through.
you know,
trauma.
the shock came after. When I got home, I was shaking. I was like, what? You know, I was just thanking God.
Because all of the thoughts would have been, what if? We thank God.
Man, you cannot imagine my trauma.
Hey,
You cannot imagine my trauma.
I cannot.
I was, it's like it's my worst nightmare. Because, you know,
Child.
children, and you know, if the mothers and they are not careful, and what had happened, he had seen his father who parked on the other side of the road.
He was running to meet his dad.
On the main road.
Hey, it have done me
Children.
before. That was how I
was-
got hit when I was younger.
I was just thankful that there was
God.
nothing serious. And I was even you know, the people on the street, they were just praising me. Hey, madam, you do well. Madam, God bless you. Because the way I pressed my brake,
And thank God the brakes were sharp.
She's always checking on her car.
imagine if it had been a trailer that he jumped in front of.
Foniri, that's the
Yes,
thing,
now
the height.
it's high.
Because it was a little baby, it was like
Yeah,
3.
that's the thing. That
We
was what I
thank
was
God.
thinking.
We thank God. We
Just
thank
like
God
we
that-
shared now.
Yes, so.
The things that we don't imagine or we don't think about, let it not disrupt what we're actually
thinking
thinking about.
about.
That's it.
Hey, thank God I was even paying
You were
attention.
even alert.
I wasn't
Another thing, you were
distracted.
alert.
You on a phone call
Those
or
are the
something.
things, little things that count. Checking on your car.
I said I was just
Through it
thanking
all,
God. I was
we're
just
grateful
praying.
to God. Through it all, we're grateful to God. Oluwa Sheo. Bye, Ilya Marie. We escape it. Not that it happened. Anything worse happened.
I know he might not be watching, but Kola, happy birthday, my good friend, my best friend's husband. Happy birthday.
Okay, yes, it was our birthdays all this week.
Yes, so until
Birthdays on birthdays.
Our birthdays.
Uncle Theo, happy birthday. Even though I was not here to say it, but I'm saying it.
Well, anyway, we saw the pictures that they were painting the
And
town red.
Nima Zone too decided to flood us from history all the birthday. Uncle Z,
I even
happy
forgot to call
birthday.
Mr. Zibri. Mr. Zibri.
Don't worry,
The
me,
that I went
me, I
to
was-
yesterday didn't let me remember.
I was receiving all the birthday on behalf of Uncle Theo Zone.
Mr. Zibri, happy birthday.
So Zip was like, I don't want any birthday this year. And then his daughter calls him, happy birthday, daddy. Just wait for me. When I come back, we'll celebrate. And then I saw a softer side of
Of melt,
just
daddy's
get
girl.
out. That one has the key, the move button that the mommy does not have anymore. But happy birthday. We're grateful to God. Thank you to everybody who sent prayers and messages to him on my post. Thank you so much. I'll write something later.
You write something
You were going to talk
them.
about this water matter.
So-
Say thank you
Tolerance.
to me because I forgot because of my trauma.
So you know your relationship. Go and call him.
I will call him. Of course, I will call him.
So I'm drinking because I am not fasting. And in Islam, some circumstances exempt us from fasting. What we now need to learn is to know those circumstances so that when we see a person who is not fasting, we would assume the circumstances immediately. My mom is very aged. She's been through health. My mom insists on fasting. We were trying to change her mind since year 2000. She hasn't. Every Ramadan, she fasts even though her health condition. And it must be from childhood.
That
You
you
know, the
got
kind of
into it.
exposure she has. In Islam, tolerance is important. I'm going to drink because when I'm paying back the 9 days that I'm in this Ramadan,
You will not know.
You will not know. You will see a mug here and think I am not fasting.
So there's
Because
they sent
it
her
is
a message.
important. No, leave the message out. It's important that we understand that Allah says everybody will be judged by their intentions. And if you're a Muslim, that's one sunnah, that's one saying that you must know. The entire Ramadan, everything we do, everything is now being done for eye service, what people see, what people say, as opposed to focusing more on what your relationship with God is. If you learn to mind your business, which is Prophet saying, those who learn to leave things that do not concern them, it's like minding your business, that kind of thing. So,
at least minding the one that pays you.
Oh, it's saying that me on a weekday.
On a weekday, having left my house early, you know, we live on the end, so you have to leave quite early. And I just drove on
Which
80.
end?
Fagba.
Okay.
And I just drove on. We're in the same area now. That is your backyard, Nabi, your front yard.
Oh, God.
So, and I just drove on 80. It took driving on the Third Milan Bridge today. I was just reminiscing about life. Oh, now match has almost ended. The match is ending. Where are we going to? You know, life and things that happen to us, and we see. You are just perturbed sometimes, and you're like, wonderful. I remember when we were growing up, and I'm always talking about, God, just let me born, just let me marry before this world will end. And now you have done some of those things. You've gone to school, you've given birth, and you're like, okay, what next? What's going to happen?
You were alone in the car.
I was alone.
It always once you are alone inside the car, your mind will just be your conscience.
You look at your conscience and reevaluate yourself. But all things being equal, we're grateful to God for life. At least, like I will say again, we always pray that the things we do not think about do not destroy the things that we have already planned out. So I will say good morning again to everybody.
Oh, all right. We're going to take a quick break. Sleep is my middle name, is my first name, last name right now. But we got to do what we got to do. And we'll take a break. When we return, we'll go through the front pages of the newspaper. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. So we're starting on front page review with The Nation as usual. Government raises 2,400 special forces to battle bandits, terrorists. Training of first batch of 800 begins. The CDS self-quit notice to criminals. That's part of the reason we're doing the training. States receive withheld local government fund. 250,000 sign up to recall Natasha. That's Senator Natasha Akpoti. INEC gets documents. Uni Oshun mourns 5 students killed in crash. NIMC caution NIN card printers. UBA's total assets rises to 30 trillion naira and profit hits 804 billion naira. Adeleke shocked by level of destruction in Ilubu, Ifon. Eagles will defeat Zimbabwe, Ekong boast, Nigeria to consolidate. First Lady pledges 1 billion naira to combat tuberculosis. Youth Academy to provide skills, boost employment. What story are we starting with?
I have the Adeleke shocked by the level of destruction in Ilobu and Ifon. And this one is saying the Osun State Governor, Ademola Adeleke, yesterday visited Ifon in Orolu local government and Ilobu in a Repodo Council to inspect the level of destruction in the warring communities. And it has been reported that over 100,000 residents have currently been displaced. Lives were lost and over 2 billion property were destroyed during the clash, which later spread to Erin-Osun over land disputes. Subsequently, Adeleke imposed a 24-hour curfew on the affected communities and handed over warning letters to of dethronement to affected monarchs. And he also had said that the governor had also said when his entourage toured Ilobu, Ifon, and Erionshun, that the several buildings that were burnt in Ilobu, including 2 filling stations, that there were countless of empty bullet shells in the places affected and the clash. And he's also saying that he's putting out an aid service, and he says that we have gone round, as you can see, that there are security operatives in all of these places, and the curfew imposed has been very effective because we went round the 3 communities, Ilobu, Ifon, and Erionshun. He says he's happy that the whole place is calm now, and he wants to commend the security agencies for restoring peace in the affected areas.
Okay, so I have the states for local government. States receive withheld local government funds, and this one breaks my heart, but according to this story, they said it is due to logistics as well as certain other things. That's why they're still disbursing local government funds through the states. There is a temporary arrangement due to logistics and administrative challenges. The challenges in questions were not specified, but the federal government has released the January and February 2025 federal allocation FAC funds to the state government instead of, I don't know why, I'm stuttering. To the state government instead of the local government directly, which is what the Supreme Court had ordered. The Supreme Court had ordered direct disbursement to the local government. They're already preparing for the March allocation, and they said that that will also be disbursed quickly. A staff of the Ministry of the Federal Office of the Accountant General was talking to the nation, and he clarified that although the Supreme Court judgment proclaimed that local governments should receive their funds directly, the ongoing release of funds through the state is just a temporary arrangement due to logistics and administrative challenges. A lot of people have criticized this move by the government in releasing the funds to state governments, but they are explaining it and insisting that it's just temporary. The presidential candidate for the Labour Party also criticized the disbursement of local government funds in Rivers State to the Administrator General. And yes,
since they currently don't have a governor.
But the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation have defended that the arrangement would soon is a temporary thing. They just keep saying it's a temporary. They didn't say when it will be resolved. I think that whatever is required of local governments, if they need their own account,
the process should have been since between Supreme Court judgment and now.
That judgment was early 2024. And by now, it should have been ironed out.
So I took the story of the 5 students and others that died in the in a car crash on Ikere-Ibadan Expressway. They said the bus was carrying 18 of them, and it crashed into an oncoming bus. Well, those big buses. The
luxury bus.
Yeah, it was on the wrong side of the road, so they head-on collision. And there is a picture of the accident. The bus was completely, and 5 students from the university died. They are mourning their students. There was a 400 level student, 300 level student. There are 2 students with the same name, Ogundare Elijah, a 100 level student, and of mechanical engineering, and Ogundare Belumi, a 300 level student. So I guess they are even siblings. Can you imagine how traumatized that family is? One of the there was a survivor, Olagbemide Damilola, a 200 level student of medicine and surgery. We thank God for her life.
Moving on to another story. This one, I had to read it because they said that NIMS, that's the Nigerian Identity Management Commission, has called out some people for personally printing at exorbitant price the NIN card by themselves. Like, officially, we don't have a card now because they are working to improve a general multi-purpose card that will be launching soon. But while they are waiting, they said the only tenable thing that has to do with NIN is that slip. The slip is the official document. This is because we should be presenting. But some business centers are now printing card on behalf of the federal government, on behalf of NIMC, for the people that need it.
Because they fear NIMC is not.
NIMC is not doing the work, so they say they should help NIMC along. Please
Go.
do not buy such cards. Don't pay for such cards. The cards are official documents that should represent you.
I remember when I did my own NIN. It was Nima that took me. This was years before NIN even started.
It was NIMC.
We did it in 2014.
Can you imagine 2014? So when it became necessary, we had already done our own.
I did my own since then.
Do you have your card now?
They give you card. They
didn't give us cards.
People
that now went after us, some people got cards.
That's why people are helping themselves. I say, don't help yourself. We know the card is taking a while. We'll give you the card. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and look for my jam results.
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's all we can take.
I choose
Ejeki, close the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back? You should start the gym, though. You're getting fat. Cricket.
She says she does pole dancing to empower women.
What's the difference? There's a difference.
That's what I'm saying. So pole dancer,
you're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
No, it's the empowerment for me.
Sex can make your relationship better.
No.
Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too.
Almost every guy has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they are for all of us now.
This is. That's why you're still single.
I will not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the better? You scissors. What is his name?
That woman.
Bam!
Yeah,
Today we'll go here.
Hey.
Let's catch up now.
I'm sure we've been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah? Stay good. Entertainment for Pure Entertainment.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing the front pages of the papers and we are moving on to the Punch major headline. Naira for crude talks. Dangote refinery, others may import $1.4 billion crude monthly. And of course, the NUPRC weighs solutions to NNPCL crude shortage claim. Tinubu panel may meet before Salah. Police intercept 488 AK-47 rifles and arrest 2,000 suspects. Makinde plans suit as Oyo Sharia panel begins sitting. Ogun Attorney General, AIG clash over murder land grabbing case. Oshu clashes, 3 gunmen killed as Adeleke talks tough. Overstaying visas attract permanent ban, US warns Nigerians. Wike camp dismisses Atiku coalition, whose PDP bigwigs. Obasanjo Kuka, others allege Nigeria's democracy failing. And power generators fear collapse over 4.7 trillion naira debts. This power thing is not working. But who has what story? Dangote, what's going on?
Headline.
Oh, okay.
Major.
Major. So they have helped us to count it. That, all local refineries between the Dangote and other local refiners will have to spend $8.5 billion to import 122 million barrels of crude oil to achieve full operational capacity in the next 6 months. And that means about 1.5 billion monthly. Now, this is because the committee, the Nigerian National NNPC Limited and Dangote Refinery were unable to finish the meeting that they had. The tech subcommittee on Naira for crude was supposed to have a meeting with Dangote Refineries and other local government and other government officials on behalf of the NNPC, but that meeting did not hold as planned. And they are saying, according to the source in the Punch, they are hoping it will still hold.
But we knew this thing was going to happen. We knew the other one was going to expire, and they knew that it was going to happen.
Shouldn't they have been holding the meeting ahead of it?
Why would you wait until that?
They said is NUPRC, that's the Nigerian Petroleum Upstream Regulatory Commission, that refused to finish work that will encourage how they will go into this meeting. Now some people say, let's review the performance of the last performance. Before those people are the ones that are reviewing the last performance of the last performance that did not perform. That is bringing us here now. Because we have been enjoying this 860 that Dangote have helped us to bring about. Imagine us going back to 1,200, 1,000 something for fuel. The kind of feedback they'll get. I'm saying this because the federal government should know the heat that is going around. You see all those videos that are popping up, 30 days rant, all of those rants. They will rant more if you fail to do your job. So they should catch the person that refused to perform and catch him and force him to perform. They said even Edo refinery is already looking to import crude, and those was the 30,000 barrel per day.
All right. So I took the story of the police intercepting 488 AK-47 rifles, and in the federal capital territory, they intercepted a large cache of live ammunition cleverly concealed in jerry cans filled with palm oil and arrested a suspect linked to the smuggling. So the guy had put the ammunition in jerry cans filled with palm oil. His name is Nuhu Aminu, a 32-year-old man from Katsina State. He was arrested at the Nyanya bus terminal. I don't even know how they found out. The guy now said that he was given the contract by somebody who paid him $100,000. 100,000 naira. He was paid by a Funtua resident, Yakubu Kachala, a resident of Funtua, Katsina State, and he confessed and said they gave him money to carry the illegal cargo.
At least we have to acknowledge the police working. This is.
I don't even know because it was inside.
They worked.
Jerry cans.
It must have been very high intelligence reports to have gone to intercept.
All right, what story do you have?
The one I have is, well, good and bad. 900 and 56 Nigerians rescued from Libya. Federal government warns against illegal migration. The chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa, has announced that over 956 Nigerians have been evacuated from Libya in the first quarter of 2025, warning against illegal migration. According to the statement signed by the NINCOM spokesman, Abdul Rahman Balogun, on Monday, this was made possible through the collaborative efforts of the International Organization for Migration, Nigeria, and the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons. According to the statements, the returnees were evacuated in 6 separate trips between January and March 2025, including 683 females, 132 males, 87 children and 54 infants. The evacuation took place on January 28, February 11, 19, February 25, March 4 and March 18, with the highest number of returnees recorded in the March 18 trip, which brought home 176 individuals. And Honorable Dabiri also mentioned, the chairman, she also mentioned that 956, she just corroborated to say 956 Nigerians had been evacuated from Libya. Good that at least we have these people still alive and they've come back home, whatever it is. But bad that the Nigerian government, the federal government needs to also put in place measures to keep these people. If you ask them to come back here to do what?
Have they finished taking care of those
ones that we that we are here, we are not balanced.
They will go. They won't stay. They won't stay.
I want to take the US has asked Nigerians to stop overstaying. So they say if you stay more than 180 days in America, you'll be banned for 1 to 3 years. If you stay more than a year, you'll be banned for 1 year. And they say that they have history of anybody who has overstayed.
1 year, 10 years.
If you stay more than 1 year, you'll be banned for 10 years. If you stay more than 180 days, you'll be banned for 1 to 3 years. Respect yourself. When you go leave your country,
and then if you are a continuous
criminal, you are life banned. You never go to America again, according to them. Moving on to Daily Sun. Let's just fix our country. Obasanjo accuses National Assembly of bribery, says federal lawmaker took money to ratify the Rivers emergency proclamation. In other news, we have pipeline explosion. Fubara denies link to militant groups. Rivers PDP seek reversal of emergency rule at Supreme Court. I won't apologize to Senate, says Senator Natasha. UBA gross profit. Honor Humphrey Wonsu posthumously. That's from INEC chairman. The INEC chairman urges federal government and local government autonomy. NLC warns government against undermining the court order. We don't have much time. What story can we take before we go?
Go.
I should go.
You can pass.
Okay.
Which one do you want to take?
Nigerian Tribune. Major headline. 2027 INEC Atiku group differ over new party registration. Alleged 33.2 billion naira arms deal, arms lease. EFCC to arraign ex-NSA Dasuki, former NNPC director, afresh today. Sad, we've taken the story of the Uni Osun. And said, do you have a story?
Yes, I took the police detained 3 officers for extortion of a content creator. So it was on the Sherry Road. They had arrested, the police had arrested the guy, him and his friend were in a boat. So they took them to the Sherry police station and to an unfinished building behind. And when they checked his phone, they saw that he had how much in his... he was a 21-year-old guy. He had some money, a lot of money in his
account.
Not a Binance account and Trust Wallet. They say,
crypto.
Is that crypto? So we are old school. We don't do crypto.
That's why we're trying to blend you people.
So anyway, when they saw that, they now made him go and cash 150,000 naira and then give them. So the boy put it on his ex account.
And they were able to arrest the corrupt
police officers.
Fantastic.
So, which is a good thing.
Yes. So the police are doing a good job and they are also prosecuting the bad eggs amongst them. And
they need a facelift. The one I have is the federal government ordering probe into the Kogi jailbreak.
Okay.
And the federal government has ordered that the immediate and comprehensive investigation into the Kotonkafi Correctional Center in Kogi State. Not fewer than 12 inmates reportedly escaped from the center, from the medium security custodial center in the early hours of Monday while the prison warden was killed. Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, ordered the immediate probe into the incident, and this is saying that he also made a statement from a special assistant on media, Babatunde Alao, which was made available yesterday. Tunji Ojo also equally ordered the acting controller general of the Nigerian Correctional Service, NCOS, Sylvester Ndidi, to visit the facility in Kogi to evaluate the situation and to commence comprehensive audit to unravel the events that led into the jailbreak. However, the spokesperson for the NCOS, Abubakar Omar, confirmed the developments in a statement on Monday in Abuja, noting that during the incident, some inmates in a section of the facility manipulated the padlocks, leading to the escape of 12 inmates. And Omar has also explained that he has been receiving reports of attacks on the NCOS boss in collaboration with head of sister security agencies that they have started mobilizing for a manhunt to return the escapees.
So that's the response is fast. You see all those people that carry themselves to INEC, that's where they should be facing. Instead of recalling Senator Natasha,
they should face the
real issues in Kogi State.
Yes, because I saw a statistics of prison breaks in Kogi State, and not all inmates come back. Not all of them.
So it's not even the first time it has happened in that prison.
It's not very controversial.
So that is what they are living with.
It's more pressing.
They are going to go and recall.
That's our village in Kogi.
That's all we can take off front page review for today. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll go into our hot topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
A place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and look for my jam results.
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Ramadan, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back? You should start the gym, though, you're getting fat.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. The Independent National Electoral Commission received the petition seeking the recall process of suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, the Kogi Central Senator. The petition was submitted and received by the Commission's Secretary, Rose Oriaro Anthony. What are your thoughts on this? The news coming out from the Kogi Central recall that the Senate, we all know the Senate has suspended her before, and now the information is that this suspended senator is now being recalled from the National Assembly. We'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Join the conversation by calling us on 020-1635-2013 or 090-2416-3440. This, drama with Natasha seems like a season movie. Like we've had first season. First season was when the drama happened with her being moved from her seat, and then there was like this ruckus that happened. The second season was when...
The first season was nightclub.
It's true.
They said the first season was nightclub. The second season was from the movement on the National Assembly. Third season was on television where she accused the Senate President of sexual harassment. Then we went to the court. Then we went to... came back and were suspended. Then we took the case to the international level, and now we are being recalled. Different seasons, and people are asking, is this fight really for, what's this fight really about? Is it the right approach to deal with the situation? Are we over, are we not silencing the voice of someone that has come out? Or like Nima was saying before we went to the break, that is it so easy? Who is bankrolling this recall? There are many sides to this story that would love us to dig into. So we'd like to hear from you. Please call the numbers on your screen, or you can tweet to us, hashtag your view on TVC, so we can hear from you. Okay, YK, I want to start with you. We've discussed this a few times. We discussed it before the case went to court. We discussed after court, but now it has taken a new dimension. She's been recalled. They've gotten 250,000 people to sign. They've submitted itself.
They need half, and they had 580,000, so they haven't really got the half yet. They are short of like 10,000 or so, or 20,000, and it doesn't matter. The point is, they are even short of like 80,000, maybe. Calculate it for me. Anyway, that's not even what I'm about to say. I think my disappointment was the spokesperson for the people that went to recall her was a woman. I would hope that before you recall a senator like that, you would do your due diligence. From the way I see it, they haven't done their due diligence. They've just been told to go and recall this senator. And you see, it's about the institution. They're so...
When you did that, this doesn't mean money.
Money conscious.
It's just about the power.
Okay.
Now, she has gone against them, so they are using that one to show her that she's a fly.
It's not really about the case anymore.
It's not about the case. It's
you dare to speak against the system.
We will show you who we are. That's how it might not be so. This is all alleged, because I remember when they first started this recall, some people alleged that they told them to come for empowerment. It's now that they realize, but they told them to come with their voters card and their NIN number for empowerment. So when they got there, some people were wise enough to ask questions that, come, what are we signing? Then they now realized it was... So
they had no idea what they were signing.
They did not have any idea. They were on TV. I watched them. There are even videos of them.
INEC accept such those set of signatures when you know that...
That's what Allah do.
Because if you tell me I'll give you 500 naira, sign, and I signed, but I don't know what I signed, should INEC accept such signature that has been compiled together by people just because it is a signature?
No, it's not INEC's business. It's the party's business to go to court to say these signatures were fictitiously done and bring evidence. So if you have that video, carry them, go and show it.
Which party is she from?
PDP.
And this is where yesterday Honorable Akialabi was saying that one of the bills he was proposing is party replacement. But the way it is now, when there's a vacancy, INEC now has to do a new election. And we know who the beneficiaries of it is. As it is now, it is with carefulness that I'm going to say this on the show. The former governor of Kogi State is from Kogi Central. Same place as her. So, because a recall is not cheap, they decided, they tried to recall Senator Dino Melaye back then. He didn't go anywhere because
they did not have the money to back on
a
it.
recall is not a cheap process. It is not. To get that 250,000 votes.
So if Natasha is actually recalled, the next person will be...
Signed petition will first of all be given to INEC to notify INEC of the intention of the constituency's intention to recall their representative. That's the first process. And that process is what we have seen the video circulating now. That is in one parlor that they are just signing. Probably they've gotten names and INEC card numbers from people because they made people queue for another purpose, and then they're helping them to sign.
To document.
So they will get those 50% constituent members signed signatures for a petition to INEC. A recall is not cheap. Somebody is bankrolling it. I say that one with my full chest. But whether they say they are not bankrolling them or that Kogi Central people decided to leave their business, their productive businesses to come and queue
to sign.
That's another matter. If you see 2-3 people that they're doing videos, ask them. Somebody have told them what to say. That's my personal belief, and I wait for somebody to come and convince me. Otherwise. You know, because the senator in question, before her suspension, nothing else happened. She represented her people very well. Very many videos of what she's done. So suddenly she's suspended, and a woman is leading the team saying that she's been an embarrassment to them at in Kogi Central. I don't understand what is happening. What's his name was suspended in this assembly? No, not this assembly.
The previous one, no.
The previous assembly suspended the senator who talked about...
Twitter Senator Shehu.
Yeah, no, not Shehu Sani. Shehu Sani was suspended. Did you see recall? Undume was suspended. Did you see a recall? There was this one that was suspended recently.
Senator Ningi.
He was Ningi that was suspended.
For budget padding.
He talked about budget padding, thanks. Nothing happened. Natasha was suspended.
So generally, suspension seems to be following when they speak up against the system.
That's the way
all the people suspended now. It's not for any, not corruption. It is speaking against the system.
Agege, when he was suspended, was the one who went to court to get the court to put a precedent that the House cannot suspend a representative of a people beyond a certain number of days. I'm trying to remember. I think beyond 2 weeks. So this kind of suspension that Natasha has already is against the precedents established. I know Omar Agege then, before he even became an active, an official of the Assembly of the Senate, had this issue where he was suspended for a conduct at the time. And he went to court saying that it means that you have disenfranchised and disrepresented these people in the kind of democracy we run. The court established that beyond 2 weeks, any suspension is futile. This woman was suspended for 6 months, have been indefinitely by this house. And her people are now doing a recall as if they don't know that this is a temporary thing. This is politics playing. That's me. That's what I'm just trying to say.
Mafia's at work.
Do you believe that this is pure politics, and how do you think that people should address the current drama? Because there are those that pro-Natasha, Senator Natasha, and against Senator Natasha, but through all of that...
Yeah, I'm not even for Natasha. I'm saying
neutral.
I'm saying that even though she's lying, the one we are saying first is that the politics I explained, we should remove the had. What we are doing now is that, see, whether it's Natasha...
to hear
Dami.
Okay, I think for me, Nigeria already looks to me in the few number of years I've spent growing up. Nigeria looks to me like a woman who has framed her pregnancy and goes to the hospital and speaks to a doctor that she wants to go into the delivery room. What are you going to give birth to? What's there? If the doctor does not know that there's no pregnancy there, at least you framing it, you know that there's nothing there. So for me, it feels like we always go in circles, and that's Nigeria. Because now, I was trying to make a hold of, okay, what happened? It was first gross misconduct, into sexual harassment, now into recall. How did we get here in less than a month? And like the whole thing has, but I understand that playing politics in Nigeria, you would need to have more than a crocodile skin to be able to probably adapt, because it still works that if you cannot beat them, you join them. Because there's no assurance that you can get them beaten. So if you are not ready to bow to that pressure,
not only will they beat you,
you will change address. As in, you will change you know, when you permanently change address, people have changed address
just
and
because
everything
of
we just
drama.
Atibe Babarele, Daddy has finally gone. But what made Daddy to go is what remains under the covers. And I really fear for her altogether as well, because sometimes you're like, is it really a fight that she can finish, that she can win? And even looking at the fact that the women folk, the people who should vehemently stand with her,
are being used
against her. Simply because
I think that is my real problem, because we are in the International Women's Month. This is happening in International Women's Month. The spokesperson was a woman inside the International Women's Month. Come on.
So why for me? How do you, because for me, I'm looking at this and we've already established it's not about for or against. It's about what seems to be like an injustice that is being meted out. So legitimately, she has disobeyed the rule of the floor. She's been suspended. Should the suspension be a 6-month suspension?
No.
After that, should the conversation then move to a case of she's been recalled? Because I'm looking at it and saying some people have genuinely feel like Natasha own is too much. If somebody is extra, should this be the way we deal with that extraness? Are we not seeing the very visible political handwriting on the wall that Nima highlighted? And how do you build a democracy that is strong when we are facing this kind of challenge? Oh, we have Ade from London. Let me hear Ade's opinion. I really would love to hear from Nigerians in Nigeria, but let's take Ade from London. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning. You hold on for 30 minutes.
We're so sorry for keeping you waiting, but you're live right now.
It's all right. My own point is this. I want to advise the husband that he should call his wife. He should make sure this thing, end now. Because if you listen to the statement Natasha gave out, they sent 500 million to her account, and she's been paying along for 1 year. That's a consent. If you go to court, you can't win the case. Why don't you report immediately? For 1 year, you get 500 million. Do this, do that. You say you are playing along. By playing along, who did you report to? You did that 1 year. Yes, I know everything is so that sexual harassment. You can't win the case because you collect money. Once you think you collect money, even if it's UK, that's the end of the case. Because you say you play along. So much just don't disgrace other women. You don't have a good case. You should just calm down. Apologize for your rude behavior in the Senate, and then go back to the Senate. That's all. Because she has already killed her case by that statement alone. How can I give 500 million to somebody and you kept my money and you are done? You say you are playing along with me. That's the consent. You should have cried out immediately and report to the FCC. And you kept that for 1 year. Now you are crying out. The case is dead on arrival. God bless Nigeria.
Oh, yeah, I hear you, but we still haven't discussed how to resolve. It was of the opinion that she already said she's not apologizing anyway, based on what, it's not an apology thing anymore. I think we've already passed that.
Every other senator, I don't think Ndume did any apology.
And they were not recalled.
I don't think he did any apology.
This is us assuming that the recall has to do with her suspension.
Yes, no, that's what they said. The recall is because of her suspension. Two of those spokespersons have said that she's been suspended. You think she died? In the video that I saw in an interview, somebody said she's been suspended and we cannot be without a representative. I'm like,
so what they should be fighting for?
The period of time that you want to use to do this
referendum, the Senate cannot suspend her for 6 months. It's too long. That's what they should be fighting for. But what they are fighting for is to remove her completely.
And because the woman who spoke, I'm afraid that allegedly she works with the previous governor of Kogi State. So it's crystal clear. Like Nima said, that obviously somebody is bankrolling. So if we're even talking about women, yes, men can also stand up for women. But in this case, it's like power have passed power, water have passed Gary, and people want to be careful in the way they meddle into this situation. So everybody's just trying to remove themselves from the picture.
Senate one of the senior political orders of the Senate, I will not mention senator, when they read his reports that time, they read it. He said that she was not suspended for the sexual assault allegation or petition. She was suspended for the unruly behavior on the floor of the Senate, disregarding the rules of the Senate. Now she first disregard rules of Senate because 6 months.
Akpabio himself disregard rules of Senate.
Yes, if it is this same, that's the thing. If it is that disregard for the rules of the Senate, we can count precedent that did not go on 6 months suspension.
So if that's like it's beyond.
You reach her turn now. They use
beyond
rock, kill, break.
Let me take the call from Gogalada. Welcome to the show. Good morning. Yes, let's hear. We need the volume to be higher. Oh, we lost the caller. So, what we're dealing with...
Judge Fidelis is saying that Ndume sent an apology to the House. I will go and Google it.
Okay. So, what we're discussing now is the fact that she's been suspended for 6 months. Her people feel they're not being represented, so they issued a recall. Not that they didn't fight for her to come back. They're not asking, there was no protest for her to come back. In most cases, when conversations regarding politics takes place, there's always somebody is funding this process. Or if there's a protest, somebody was funding it. If there's a recall, somebody was funding it. If there is, even this case of the drama that happened within the State Assembly, I mean the House, Senate, the chambers, there was conversation of something happened behind the scene. As citizens, we don't know what happened behind the scene. Our concern is, are we getting represented? Is there justice being seen to be done? What would justice look like for you, Dami?
Justice for me will look like fair hearing. Because in all of this, it's been one side and the other side. There's no common ground yet. I believe that she was voted for. I remember during her election period too, and different things that she faced, including her constituent road being dogged overnight. She had an accident. So she gone safe. She's tough.
She is actually.
If some people would have not even witnessed maybe 2-3 incidents, near-death incidents, colossal incidents, they would have given up. So I think that strength is what even the Kogi people should appreciate. But would you appreciate strength where there is hunger, active hunger in place? This hunger is not passive. It is an active one. Because you don't even know where your next meal is coming from. If the devil hands a lot of people a fork at his table, they will jump at it, regardless of maybe they are even the next meal to be feasted upon. And we know this Nigeria, like my dad will say, Nigeria is, let me use the word he uses, he says Nigeria is sometimes Operation Kid the Killer. Because you that they have sent on an errand to do something, they will send somebody next after you. So that's why I said we go in circles. It would have been appreciated by Nigerians if she was allowed to express herself, allowed fair hearing. They now decide, because the clarification and network have joined together. Harassment have joined with misconduct. So we don't even know how to sieve the wheat from the chaff. Because if that first precedence of nightclub didn't happen, that was quite a condescending statement. You could have used, oh, we are not in the church, oh, we are not. But the nightclub showed that there is more to it than meets the eye. Just naturally.
Let me take this call. Debbie has called in from Abuja. Welcome to the show. Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning, Doctor and the ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Can we have volume?
Yeah, thank you for bringing this up. Number one, I'm speaking as a former legislator.
Okay.
Yeah, and I want us to know one thing. There's a Yoruba adage, I'm a Yoruba person, that you know the beginning of a war, you will not know the end. So you pick your war. You pick your battle. The one you think you can win. You have a case against the Senate president, fine, allegedly. You pick the correct way of fighting me. I just spoke from London now because I've been following. What she did against the institution that she belonged to was totally wrong. Distinguished Senator Akpabio, yeah, as a person, he might be your friend, he might be your colleague, he might be your husband's friend. But once he's seated on that seat as the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you don't go against the rules of the House. You cannot speak. I think that was the genesis, allegedly. You cannot speak from that. Carry your bag. Respect your constituents that voted for you. Because you need to move a motion on their behalf that day. You carry your bag, sit on where they ask you to speak from. You speak from that place, you present your constituent petition or motion, something that can favor them. Then after that, you return back to where you think you want to return to. But you don't deny your constituent the presentation of your motion that day. That was the beginning of our error. And as a female, I don't want to be sentimental, I don't want to be biased, I don't want to, because we are women, because I won't go into that route. She has made a mistake. As a leader, as a female, when you are outside, you must comport yourself. You must conduct yourself. If men are doing it, I heard Nima saying Indume has done it, these are done it. We must make a difference because we are not many there.
I hear you, Madam Debbie. Thank you so much for your contribution. I feel really...
I didn't hear what she said.
She said she should have just moved the seat. She should move her motion and then go back and complain about it.
Really,
enough, we're going to have to round off. But if this happens,
let me say
we can go back and forth and argue what is right or wrong concerning the matter. But when we finish this, if she's recalled, we drop from being the number of women in the assembly. So we can fight ourselves and say, she didn't represent us well. A woman, I'm impartial. I'm a woman, but I will not support women. Long and short is -1 in the Senate now. So, if she leaves, it is -1. It is still us, whether we like it or not. We agree or not.
I agree with Madam Debbie that, you know, when you're busy at work, you don't get distracted. She should have gone to the seat where she was assigned and faced the business of representing the people of Kogi Central. That I agree with. But this has already happened. I also think that she should not have tested her popularity at this time because she fought so hard to get this seat. You saw what she went through at the election. It was a battle of life and death for her to get this seat. She should not have, you know, sometimes when we are looking at things and some people are weighing the pros and cons and thinking life is not all about rainbows and butterflies. It is sometimes about compromise. She should have, you know, balanced things. That's a full, wholesome politician. It's not because you have stopped at that time to give way that you have become the weaker vessel. You have taken time. It has happened already. That's for her. If I were to talk to her privately, this is what I would be saying to her. But this has happened already. What are we gathering? What are we supporting? Either her or the injustice?
I'm saying that if something has happened, we are trying to resolve. If the resolution would make us -1 woman in the Senate, I will not support that resolution. And right now, the bickering among, we're just blindly supporting a woman, what she did is wrong. Everything that must be done to ensure that seat remains with a woman is what we must do. Lagos State had a female speaker. It did not last how many days, the shortest ever.
42. I'll be 49.
So we know that as women, we cannot afford to have us not support us. Not in the month of March. So there are comments saying, women supporting, that's not true. We must remind ourselves to keep our eye on the ball. We cannot get one woman into a leadership position and fight ourselves and say, she did not do well. If she did not do well, she's our woman. Let her still be there. At the end of the day, we would resolve the issue and discuss how we feel it should be addressed. But her being pushed out like this, in this very obvious power play, is very, very, like it is like all women and are not get together. So for me, I think that we shouldn't get emotional about it, but even in a rational sense of point, we cannot afford not to discuss this.
For me, I think, I'm not saying she did right by being
confrontational.
I'm neither here nor there, because I can be a confrontational person as well. So I cannot
judge that part.
But okay, they suspended her. She brought up something about sexual harassment. That has not been addressed. And now, if they manage to recall her, it will never be addressed.
At all.
Akpabio said he was going to take that woman, the other lady, in court. That accused him of sexual harassment. We have not, the NDDC lady. We have still not heard. We are waiting for that case. So please bring it as so we can know that you are innocent. That one, that's gone. So this is like the second person accusing him. Now this one, her case will never be heard because she's going to be
silenced
completely. Then my teacher in secondary school, she just sent me a message which I have to read out. She says, "Yenny, people are hungry when they talk about Natasha. We don't believe fool. How many people did she empower in her constituency?
No, she did.
People are hungry. There is so much insecurity. Many Nigerians have been turned to beggars, and you are talking about Natasha. What are the senators doing to ameliorate the suffering of the people?" And we are talking about power play.
That's a conversation for another day.
It's a conversation for another day.
We are talking about all of them. We address them all the time. Discussing one does not stop the other from being addressed as well. That's what we can take on this segment. We have a packed show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and for my jam results.
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, at number 1, Unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Ramadan, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back? You should start the gym, though. You're getting fat. Cricket.
She says she does pole dancing to empower women.
What's the difference? There's a difference.
That's what I'm saying.
So pole dancer, you're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
No, it's the empowerment for me.
Sex can make your relationship better.
No.
Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too.
Almost every guy has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they are for all of us now.
That's why you're still single.
I would not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the person you scissors? What is his name?
That woman.
Bam! Bam!
Yeah,
Today we'll go here.
Hey.
Let's catch up.
I'm sure we've been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah? Stay good. TVC Entertainment for Pure Entertainment.
you can catch up with your favorite programs on TVC. Log on to www.youtube.com/TVC Entertainment. Join the fun.
Oh, wow. My typical day is filled with meetings, consultations, and of course, traffic. And that's all part of the hustle and bustle of city life. But the real fun starts when I can just settle down and catch up with all my favorite programs on TVC. Believe me, it's pure entertainment.
Thanks for staying with us. Today on the show, we'll be discussing real-life examples, pervasive silence and stigma associated with in vitro fertilization, popularly known as IVF in our society. Joining us to dissect this issue is a seasoned communication professional with over 15 years of working with the United Nations and international organizations on sexual reproductive health and rights. Welcome to the show, Adeola Olunloyo.
Thank you so much. Welcome. Good morning. Good morning, ladies.
And then you can join the conversation by calling us on the numbers on your screen, 020-1635. It'll be right there on the screen. Or you can call us on the second number, tweet to us. We'd love to hear from you. So now this, I was supposed to do my banter on what I had posted online about raising funds for IVF.
I saw that, really
and
laudable.
I felt we didn't have the time so that we'll still get to discuss the matter today because it is a really pressing issue.
Yeah.
When I read the comment, right now I am overwhelmed.
Yeah.
We got people sharing their entire life story. I did not think it was like, I just wanted to just put indication they will send you DM. But people were now commenting their entire life, the challenges they faced with IVF.
People are dying in silence.
So the stigma is real.
It is.
What are the common stigmas that has been associated with IVF that you want us to address? You'd like us to address on the show today?
For stigma around IVF, you know, we are living in a society where everyone thinks that to be a virtuous woman, you have to conceive naturally. So anything that goes against the norm of the natural progression of getting pregnant naturally is frowned upon. And then there's a lot of misinformation about IVF anyway. So people, it's like a mystery. We need to demystify IVF because people think it's ungodly. And people probably also question whether or not the babies will come out right. And that whether or not they're being manufactured in the lab. You know, so demystifying IVF in terms of educating people about what the process is, it's still natural. And I tell people, even though it's assisted reproductive technology, the
conception.
Conception, yeah. I mean, conception and the finalization is still in the hands of God because the doctors get to a certain point where they can't do anything. They leave the egg and the sperm to fertilize. So it depends on God or nature or the universe to decide whether or not it's going to become a baby. So, yeah, we always need to remind people that science, even the assisted reproductive technology like IVF, it still needs God's approval for it to transit to having a baby successfully.
Even apart from the God's approval, you know, it's not everybody that it works for. Some people do it and it's expensive and they never are able to conceive.
Absolutely. You know? But there's no guarantee. However, there is reassurance when people try. Let's not forget that IVF has made it possible for 12 million babies to be born globally. That's huge.
That's 12 million families, you know, that are happy and that have successfully become parents because they got that assistance. So I would say trying in itself is a fulfillment for women who need to consider it, and even men.
I mean, I remember offering to pay for someone to have IVF, but and I never heard from her. Then I asked her, I said, look, I don't mind. You are someone that you are my person. She said her husband did not agree.
So let's go into the stigma.
Family. Stigma and mindset. Now, for men are also suffering more in silence because their masculinity is associated with whether they can imprint or not. And we need to pay attention to men. Honestly, because our society is very vicious. Anytime there's no pregnancy or we feel that the problem is from the men, it questions their masculinity and their manhood, you know. But we need to let them understand that it's just a medical issue. It doesn't mean that you are not a man or less of a man if you're not able to.
I have a personal experience of a family, a close family friend whose husband's family have asked to IVF.
Yeah.
And so we had gathered around our sister to help her with the IVF, and we raised funds. We expected that as a young couple they would have some savings that they would, and the man said, no, my family is averse to it. The patriarch in my family is averse to it. They do not believe it. They think it's so expensive for a trial. And fast forward, we are looking at the situation because it's not like our friend is infertile, our sister is infertile. She gets pregnant, but the babies do not make it past. So you know that you need some form of assistance.
And it could be surrogacy for them.
For them, it could be.
Exactly.
It could also be, because I had gone through this process as well.
Yeah.
It could also be that with a bit of assistance, you give the zygote, or what is it called?
The embryo.
Some form of strength to withstand whatever process is dispelling that baby. This family in question thought, they just do 4 wives. Another wife. This young couple, they got another wife. And she too, very fertile lady, but she too started going through the same.
Which shows that the man needs to be investigated and supported.
So we need to talk more about this. This is something I don't have the permission to share, but I was forced to share. Because a lot of people do not know that they need that help. We had to start to say to our friend, you need to be on a lot of these multivitamin supplements and all of that. Because you're walking this journey alone, as it is now. With a man who has options, you're walking alone. And I know how difficult it is to go through that situation alone. I didn't have to walk it alone, and that's the blessing I had. Walking it alone, and how important, please, let's talk about how important it is for men to also be checking.
Absolutely. Research is showing now that, you know, they contribute, the health of a man also contributes, you know, 50-50. Yes, to the success of a pregnancy. But because the focus is always on the woman takes the blame. The one thing I want to quickly also highlight is the mental health support of it. Many of us go into this blindly. Many people need counseling, right, to even adjust or accept and understand what they're going through. We always pray about it, or we always just make it like a communal thing. But honestly, it's a lot to handle mentally. And for a man, for instance, if a man has no sperm and is being offered to use a donor sperm with his wife's egg, it's a lot. Some of them can't handle it. And women have immunity. Exactly. Yes, so that's why I said, even before you go into that process, you should have like pre-treatment counseling, and then during the treatment, and then even after, because every step of the way you need that mental health support to be able to cope.
I would want to come from the angle to say that you have spoken about how men can also help each other, but I know that a lot of men still live in denial, especially when they have, or maybe they've not been diagnosed, or they have traces of low sperm count and very weak ejaculation and all of that. But now it brings me back to, I always say this, excuse me, but a lot of people have given birth to more children that they don't need, and deprive the people that need the children of it.
The imbalance of life.
The imbalance of life. I was in the market yesterday, I saw a woman with quadruplets, 4 girls. Obviously, she doesn't need them. And in my head, I'm like,
how do you know she doesn't need them?
She was actually begging to feed them. No. So in my head, I'm like, this God safe. If we can see you to just be asking you questions, why you do these things. But now I'll take it back to the family unit.
Yes.
And especially our kind of structural belief, traditional belief. If you're not doing it, even cesarean session, We have just got to go.
Shame women for
we shame
everything.
Oh, she's not an Hebrew woman. Oh,
yes.
you're not. Yeah.
Yes.
So how do we now keep encouraging ourselves? Is it a plan that individuals have to really come together and enforce and make people understand that, see, even personally, I believe that having a child is not compulsory. But if you really desire it, don't downcast the person who desires to go through other methods to have their baby because you have had it naturally 5 times, 6 times, 9 times, and you feel that it's okay.
Honestly, we need access to comprehensive fertility education. Because comprehensive, I said, because we have a lot of inadequate information and misinformation flying around. All of us as a family or as a society has a role to play in understanding that everyone has their unique pathway to parenthood. And like you said, some don't even want to have kids, right?
Yeah.
And then some want to delay having kids to have it later, you know. So we all must respect that based on everyone's trajectory or everyone's values or everyone's principles or everyone's status, because some also don't have money, right? And if they don't have money, don't shame them to say, oh, you know how we, and that's why we're having situations where you have children that cannot be cared for. So anything around fertility is very sensitive. It's very personal and it's complicated because you also don't know the underlying medical conditions that people are facing. Yeah, but everyone needs adequate information to be able to make timely and informed decisions. So my personal experience was I waited too long, right? I went through 3 IVF cycles, but I started at 42. And I didn't know. It was when my doctor said, you want to do what at 42? You are too late. I'm like, what do you mean I'm too late? And that's when I started my journey. I'm like, I didn't know so many things, even though I was in sexual and reproductive health sector, talking about reproduction, talking about pregnancy prevention, but I really didn't understand the fragility of time when it comes to a woman's biological clock. And that's why I'm ringing the bell and the alarm for women now, because we are living in a modern world where marriage and motherhood is being delayed. Women have access to more now. We're pursuing careers and our dreams. We want to become economically empowered, but no one is telling women, hey, you can pursue all of those things.
Give us the data.
Yeah.
Because I know that I've volunteered actively with Quiverful, which is for the past 5 years.
Yes.
And because of that, I'm exposed to a lot of the numbers
Yeah.
of how sharp the decline happens above 40 for women to get pregnant.
I know that
even with IVF.
Yes. So age-related fertility decline is important to know that a woman is most fertile in her 20s. By the time you are 30, your fertility starts to decline. And then by the time you clock 35, it significantly starts to drop. So that by the time you get to 40, you have only 5% chance, which was my case, you know. And then the quality and the quantity of the egg starts to decline. It does not mean that miracles doesn't happen. But we keep telling people miracles are uncommon. They are 1 in a million. So if everybody gets into the group of we're waiting on the Lord, and you don't take action to find out what's happening, know your fertility status, know what the problem is, and then address it, because there are different pathways to parenthood, and one will always work for you.
I'd like you to help us talk about because one of the things we wanted you to help us address is the stigma and getting people more open to it.
Yes.
From your own personal experience, how did you have to deal with a bit of stigma with your partner, or you were both very enlightened? How did you relate with family and friends when they got to know you were trying to do IVF? That are you not trusting God? Don't you have faith that God will do it for you? All those conversations, how was it, and how do you now help people to embrace having those conversations?
Okay, so in my case, I am single. So I attempted motherhood as a single mother by choice. Because I realized, because I had been waiting for Mr. Right and he didn't show up, my biological clock had passed, right? So this is one message I'm also passing to women, because we now have a growing population of women like me. They are waiting, but their biological clock is not waiting.
And Mr. Right is running.
Exactly. So how do we open up the conversations? Because even single motherhood is stigmatized. I am empowered. I have a voice, so I didn't feel there was any need for me to explain myself to anybody to take my path. But I know a lot of women can't do what I'm doing, right? So in my case also, I couldn't even tell my mother because I knew that she couldn't handle it. So I only had a few trusted friends and my medical team that worked with me. And I can tell you it was the most emotionally distressing experience I've ever had in my life.
Oh,
yeah.
That's huge.
So when we talk about stigma, people, it's deep. And it's about we reassessing how we relate to people who are not like us, or relate to people who are dealing with infertility, or relating even to people who are single. And you're looking at them like, what are you waiting for? Don't ask people what are you waiting for. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know how many failed relationships they've had. You don't know whether they are dealing. Exactly. You don't know if they have fibroids or they are dealing with. In my case, I had 2 diagnoses, fibroids and adenomyosis. I had never heard about adenomyosis before in my life. So they were telling me the solution is hysterectomy. So because I wanted to do a hysterectomy was what forced me to say, okay, let me try and have a child before. So I wouldn't even have bothered. So again, the lesson I took out from it, which I need to share with women, is don't wait for crisis to happen. You have to be proactive. Even before you are ready to have children, know your fertility status. Because I was just living and cruising until I was forced to face that situation and deal with it.
We'll take a break, and that's what I love about the show, because we are opening people's eyes to bringing to their consciousness the reality that people choose to ignore, but they would face at the end of the day. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and look for my jam. So
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jam.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show. You for that long.
Ladies and gentlemen, at number 1, Unavailable by Davido featuring Musiki.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is...
These are happening on live television. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. We are discussing a very heavy and emotionally vested topic. The idea of IVF, the stigma, the support people don't get, and the shocking statistics in the decline that happens to both male and female. because we don't capture that even the sperm count and the quality of sperm also loses quality as people get older.
So what you mentioned, because there's a question from what Tokwe said from Moses Ade. He says, my question to our guest is, with this knowledge of hers, what would age will she recommend women that want the business of childbearing?
Well, I advise before 35. Before 35, if you can, before 35. And if you can't, at least you know what you're up against and you'll be prepared.
But, you know, we're in a world where most conversations of getting married and childbearing, we're not talking about ladies doing things when they're more mature.
Yes.
And more mature means that you have spent years.
Yes.
But you then start a journey and you find out, you should have started this journey because you're all peculiar. You should have started your own with your own condition and what is in front of you much earlier. So are we not, confusing ourselves when we set the time?
Yeah.
When I was much younger, the conversation had already started that you can marry early. And most of us were looking forward to finishing a degree, and even though you have the support in your own family, my own family disposition is that once a man is well-to-do, the girls do not have to go older. But we had become exposed and we're thinking this was right until I was sitting in a fertility clinic and thinking, I just done this thing early. And I was looking at all the women were around and nobody is talking about this. It is shame when somebody says, for my child, we would rather start early. I have a friend who was an only child to her mom. Only child. The day she got pregnant, she was about 19 when she got pregnant for her boyfriend. And her mother says, I know my condition. She's been, I don't know if her mom is still alive now. She had almost all her first 4 children for her mom because all the children, grandma man bang money.
You see?
Because she knows what her medical history was and knew what her daughter was up against. This girl, when we were much younger, was even overweight as a young girl. So are we not confusing people by setting the standard for women to be, it's not in your
after
face.
You are a graduate,
you must graduate, you must have business. A woman, there's a word, Moral Montasi.
You have to be matured before you get married. You have to know yourself.
It's not the business.
You don't know yourself.
Whereas it might just be your own business in your own medical history and your line. To do it at 18.
But I think you should re-emphasize what you said, which is people need to know their medical condition. Ignorance is not
very important. We also we are living in a culture where women are expected to bear and endure pain. Many girls start their periods painfully. I started my period at 10, and from day one, it's crippling pain, And as I grew older and then got fibroids, it became worse. Every time I'm menstruating, the only time I fainted in my life was when I was on my period. So I learned that I have to always have my medication even before it starts start to arrest it. Otherwise, it just cripples me, So my point, back to what you're saying, there are so many things happening in a woman's body that people think is normal. This is the life of a woman. This is so we don't even know you're supposed to see a gynecologist. Period pains that are crippling are not normal. Somebody needs to check and see what's going on in there. So when we start by being proactive and having positive health-seeking behavior to check our daughters, ensure there's no endometriosis, there's nothing funny going on there, then it helps them to also know that they need to take charge, of their health. And talking to you about the confusion, I think the message here is give women the autonomy and the empowerment to decide what is best for them. Everybody knows their capacity. No, it's not just even about body now. People know when they're socially, mentally, financially ready for marriage or motherhood. And for all you care, many women are also coming up to say, you know what, I don't even want to have children. We stigmatize them too when we have such categories. So we're not confusing them. We're empowering them to say, decide what is best for you, but know the limitations of your biological clock. Because when you know that and you keep it in view, it helps you decide and make some certain decisions at certain times.
Have the pressure of society to have kids.
Yes.
Whose families understand. But they have the goal. They feel
and it's okay, and it's valid.
Get a community. You have shared so much to us today, honestly. And I just don't want anybody to forget the things you've shared. Going through the waiting shouldn't be done alone.
Yes.
Get a community, find
that is trusted and supportive.
Counseling. Yes, you need counseling, therapy, people that will listen to you and can support you.
And not judge you.
Women shouldn't have to go about it alone if they are married. Let the husbands also be involved.
Emotionally.
Actively involved. You spoke about knowing your medical condition early. Because the longer you wait, the more challenges.
I know, say families for young girls.
Yes.
If someone had just taken me to the hospital when I was going through, I just knew it wasn't normal out of 4 girls that I was
you're having so much.
So parents, when your child starts menstruating, be interested to know the pattern. Right? If there are some red flags, if this child is always crippled or in pain or whatever that is abnormal, or even bleeding longer than the normal range of 5 days. Because I was bleeding for 12 days at some point. I was having, I didn't used to, when I travel abroad is when I buy my pads, because I don't have the right kind of pads available for me. So it's a problem,
Getting informed.
For getting informed and knowing what is normal.
Thank you so much for sharing your story.
How expensive is surrogacy?
Okay. I won't be able to put a price tag on it because it depends on the clinic and it depends on who and the terms.
Is it your
but I can
egg?
say that it's not cheap.
If you are buying the egg, you can be buying the sperm. You pay for the person. You pay for the medical treatment. You are paying for the IVF plus.
But let me say something that I learned from one of my fertility champions. Don't be overwhelmed by the cost because they are instrumental. If you get your information and prepare, because I feel like everything in life is planning. If you plan that I want this, it will come. But you don't need to have all the money together at once because treatment takes place at, it's a process and in stages. So if you need 100,000 today for this step, you gather. If you need 500 for the next step, you gather. Take that leap of faith and also get trusted people who can work with you and help you.
Okay, but I would just like to cap up with IVF, surrogacy, adoption. What do they have in common?
They're all alternative paths to parenthood that should be encouraged for those that it's meaningful to.
Thank you so much. On that note, we round up this segment. We can never stop talking about things like this. I want to normalize the conversation in your own community as well. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and look for my jam.
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jam.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, at #1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for #1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Ramadan, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, but do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back? You should start the gym, though, you're getting fat. Cricket.
She says she does pole dancing to empower women.
What's the difference? There's a difference.
That's what I'm saying.
So pole dancer, you're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
No, it's the empowerment for me.
Sex can make your relationship better.
No.
Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too.
Almost every guy has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they are for all of us now.
That's why you're still single.
I will not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the person you scissors? What is his name?
That woman.
Bam! Bam!
Today we'll go here.
Hey.
Let's catch up now.
I'm sure we've been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah? Stay good. Entertainment with Pure Entertainment.
Now you can catch up with your favorite programs on TVC. Log on to www.tvcentertainment.com youtube.com/TVC Entertainment. Join the fun.
Oh, wow. My typical day is filled with meetings, consultations, and of course, traffic. And that's all part of the hustle and bustle of city life. But the real fun starts when I can just settle down and catch up with all my favorite programs on TVC. Believe me, it's pure entertainment.
Great Nigerian place to work.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Last week, Thursday, 20th of March 2025 was World Oral Health Day. So, World Oral Health Day is a day that is dedicated annually to raise global awareness for issues around oral health and the importance of oral hygiene. And this government health association, many people come together to the general public to work together to achieve healthier mouth. Because they say healthier mouth is a healthier life. So, joining us this morning to discuss this year's theme is a consultant restorative dentist at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Dr. Judith Jolayemi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Consultant restorative, as like I've never heard of that before. You have read this tit matter to the level of everything possible. You see, I've just been smiling since this segment because I want to flaunt that I have good dentition. But
You do.
but welcoming her to the show, I want to have a conversation that's going to enlighten us on the importance of our oral health. You can join the conversation by calling the numbers on your screen, tweet to us, or comment on YouTube. We would love to hear from you, especially personal stories, because some questions we cannot relate with that people can't. During the before we started the show, I have bombarded you concerning braces, dental habits like sucking, and how all those things distort the mouth. But the theme for the year actually is about the healthier oral hygiene and how it impacts on our life. Please, can you help us establish how does having a healthy oral habits, like this entire thing we do with our mouth, how does it impact on our health generally?
Thanks for having me here. So your oral hygiene is very, very important because I always like to start with the mouth is the gateway to the body. Everything goes into the mouth, so you eat your foods, and then also you talk, you interact with people. So the mouth is actually very important, just like the other parts of the body. And when you have a bad oral hygiene, it could predispose to so many factors, from the local factors you have in the mouth, like your bleeding gums, your cavities, even to the mouth odors, you know, which would impair your interaction with people generally. Not to talk of your self-esteem. You have a bad color of teeth, you have stains, you have bad breath, you wouldn't be able to interact with people freely and all of that. And that is what brings the basis of this, the theme of this World Oral Health Day, which is a healthy mouth is a healthy mind. Because without a healthy mouth, you can't have a healthy mind. You can't relate to people and you can't be healthy.
Okay, I think for me, the first challenge I faced when I was growing up is with this my tooth.
Okay.
And I realized that it used to give me low self-esteem. And when I started to talk about it, I had people say, oh, your dentition is fine. Oh, is it just that? And that makes you unique. In my head, I'm like, people are not living inside his mouth. It's me that owns the mouth. But by and large, I discovered that my dad's dentition too is not the very smooth one. So do we have dentition's formation through hereditary genes?
Well, yes, we do. So many factors. And the one I'll talk about is just your mouth arrangement, basically, your teeth arrangement. So we have various, we call them malocclusion or malalignment. So there is an ideal alignment of the mouth, okay, and this is my ideal model. Okay. You find out that the front teeth are slightly ahead of the upper one are slightly ahead of the lower and overlaps a little. But when you have anything that is, you know, in the reverse or any other way, then it is a malalignment. And sometimes malalignment could actually cause dental problems for you. Yes, like what you have in your mouth. Yes, so
open your mouth
it could cause dental problems too. You could predispose to cavities because when you have crowded teeth, you wouldn't be able to clean very well. You wouldn't be able to take out the debris and the particles. You wouldn't even be able to eat well. You wouldn't be able to smile well. Yes, you won't be able to chew well. So when you have malalignment, that is for crowding. You also have spacing. The teeth are scattered. So you have spaces in between all the teeth. And that encourages more food and debris packing with more gum problems. And eventually, you may have mobile teeth.
Nima was saying something that some children have like this malaligned dentition and they outgrow it over time. It just rearranges itself. Can you talk about, is that a possibility where the teeth looks a bit somehow? Because I feel like I had more protruding front teeth, but I was always forcing closing my mouth, and like I didn't like it, and it's sort of rearranged itself in my mind. So is it possible that some children can outgrow this? Parents shouldn't worry themselves too much.
Well, yes, I would say that. There is the stage in, okay, so we talk about teeth growth, and we know that in children, we have the baby tooth, which is what you call the milk teeth. And if you take the milk teeth and you look at the adult tooth, you find out that the milk teeth is smaller than the adult tooth. So nature will design the child's mouth so that the milk teeth are smaller, they are whiter, but they have spaces in between. So you find an ideal milk teeth or a child with milk teeth, you find his teeth scattered. Why? Because when the milk teeth falls out and the permanent teeth replaces it, those extra spaces fits in. So sometimes you find, you know, their teeth don't look very pretty. When you find a child with a very pretty teeth and well aligned and together, he's most likely going to come down with crowding as he grows up. Yes, and then there is this stage, you know, between about 9, 10, 11 years, we call it the ugly duckling stage. That ugly duckling stage occurs when the front teeth are out, the 4 front teeth are out, but we are waiting for the canines. And those canines, you know, because of where they are high up in the arch, they now flare up the front teeth. So it looks like the child has like a front, you know, like a protruded front teeth. But by the time those canines come down, it rearranges and then the alignment.
Growing is a process.
Yes, it's a whole
and we rush
process.
up most of these things.
Yes.
I remember when we were kids, I didn't have my teeth out early. My parents, they call me Yanla. My neighbors named me Yanla because I was well over a year, was walking and talking.
And no teeth was out.
Not even 2 or 4. Yeah, nothing. It was just my gums. But eventually when they came out so beautifully. And my father used to say, they sort of just came out lining up as if it was taking a process. So with my kids, I found it funny that they grow, for my son, they started early. My daughter never loses. You know what they call window? She never had a window. There was
no window.
Nothing. Now she has all her permanent teeth, but she never had a window. I never saw her lose one. And the one pushes out one.
Okay.
In their own family genetics. So, and the way they came out, oh my goodness, I was worried. They looked so disfigured and disarranged. But eventually, my father-in-law was like, leave it, because he had seen it before. I wanted to say, because he said,
so that's what it purchases what she was asking about genetics. That does it play? So yeah, obviously it does.
Well, when the baby teeth is going to fall out, it's at about the time the permanent teeth is coming out. Yes, unless maybe there is a trauma and then we have to take out the baby tooth on time. So that's why most of the time, just as the baby tooth is falling out, you're
I was even saying that she's talking about family history. You know, some people can have the entire family, they have the same smile. So they have a gap in their teeth, or so that they have gap in one side. Is it like, does that happen where the entire...
Yes, it could happen.
Then also something I noticed. Instead of giving them, you know, I love to chew. I believe
chewing gum helps.
The chewing gum helped because I had unlike my siblings, I have my teeth well lined up.
Does it help?
And so I did the same to my kids, and just
to give them chewing gum.
Yes.
Well, I don't think so. I'm not sure about that. Maybe just a coincidence.
Yeah,
it's just a coincidence.
So what's there's no medical basis?
No,
that's another thing. My daughter, the dentist she uses for her kids, said lollipops are bad for kids. Like, it's one of the worst sweets that you can give.
I think everybody would agree with that.
Well, for lollipops, it's if you give them constantly, it's just the same mechanism as sucking your thumb.
It will bring out the teeth.
And when you suck your thumb, what happens is that you have muscles, you know, in the mouth and everywhere, and the thumb too is a strong muscle. So when you keep sucking and, you know, and you keep putting the pressure, it alters the anatomy of the jaw. So what happens is that this place goes high up, this place shrinks in, and the teeth pop out, and then the patient has an open gap. So he's smiling, and he doesn't have that overlap. He has like an open gap, a gap tooth in front, an anterior open bite. So constant thumb sucking, lollipops, even your, what they call it, what you give those children, the pacifiers. If you give them for a very long time, it's not healthy. And for habits, the tongue thrusting, you know, when you do, the tongue is a very strong muscle. Over time, if you continue gradually doing
that same distortion.
It will push it. So when you look at a child's mouth, you can know what kind of habit he has. So if he's sucking with his right hand, you find it on this side. If it's on the left.
Let me yab him. When people get to age like 60 and above, what are like the worries and dental hygiene they should put in place as they get older?
Well, for older patients, what we see more are gum problems for the elderly patients.
How do you prevent it?
Just regular dental checkups, proper brushing techniques.
It's supposed to be every 6 months.
Yes, every 6 months. Sometimes for the elderly ones, especially where you have some systemic conditions like diabetes, you may want to give them shorter appointments because they say that there is a link, between you know, having your high blood sugar and gum issues. So when we have older patients, you want to, you know, give them more routine.
But does alcohol come to play in any of this?
Oral hygiene and alcohol.
Then two, I want to ask, is there science behind the mythology that we grew up with traditionally? Because I started my dentition from up in UK. And my toddler son.
They must not cause
that's why I said mythology, because my mom is always like, sometimes she calls me like, Mama, shake me. And now I was really praying for one of my children to have it, and my toddler had it. So he came with the upper one first, and it was so exciting because my partner even had open teeth, he has gap tooth, and I was really liking the gap tooth thing. But when he came with the upper teeth, I said, so is there any science backing this up, or is it just rare to find people like us?
It's just an occurrence, and there is really no scientific backing to it. Yes, we have when we talk about tooth eruption, no, not really. So when we talk about tooth eruption dates, there are ranges. So it's not exactly your teeth must erupt at 6 years, your lower teeth. So it's a range, it's 6 to 8 years. At 7 to 9, the upper can come out. So it's not really...
If it doesn't align, it doesn't mean there's anything to be worried about.
So when I knew you were coming, I was a bit happy because I'd read in the Punch today that dentists are warning people to stop doing teeth whitening in salons and beauty parlors. And that is risky to their health. So I'd like you to talk about
Tell our audience why they should not go to quacks and then...
well, not just teeth whitening, any dental procedure. So it's always advisable to see a professional for your dental procedures, because there are principles to everything a dentist or a doctor is doing. So you're doing a procedure, there's always a principle behind it. There is always a rationale behind it. And it is not everybody that are candidates for certain treatments, not just teeth whitening. So it could be teeth whitening, it could be veneers, it could be anything. But there are things that the dentist needs to take into consideration. And not everybody is a candidate for teeth whitening.
Abi?
Yes, and then you need to know when to do teeth whitening. You need to know how frequent to do it. And you even need to know which tooth to do teeth whitening on. So it's not just
everywhere.
Yes.
So let's talk about what the routine should be like, because I like to floss. Sometimes I enjoy my gum. So, and I chew gum. I use chewing stick as well. So what is the routine?
That'll be our
brush
last
twice
question.
daily, floss how often, then go for your scaling and polishing. I used to do 6 months. I've not done. And the filling I did recently, I don't even like it. And so let's give us the details.
So basically, for your oral hygiene, you need to brush twice a day, morning and night. You need to see your dentist every 6 months for checkups, because sometimes you have problems in your mouth that you don't even know you have. And these problems don't come all of a sudden. So they start very subtle.
We're using our tongue to check.
So that sometimes you have cavities and you don't even know you have cavities. When you start to see cavities on the mouth, like for these ones I had here, there are different sizes of cavities. They start very tiny, that you may not even know you have them. So, but when you see your dentist regularly, they pick it up very fast. They pick your gum problem very fast and they treat it.
Thank you so much. Mouthwash, yes or no?
Mouthwash, fluoride mouthwash, yes. Medicated mouthwash on prescription.
Okay. All right. That's all we can take. Thank you so much, Dr. Judith Jolayemi, for educating us about the importance of oral health and oral mouth, oral life. So please go and see your dentist in the shortest time possible. That's all we can take on today's show. See you all tomorrow. Bye.